Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Bell to Bell with Bobby Blaze. I am your host, Professor Jeremy Vilmur, and joining us now, Arn Anderson's favorite enhancement talent, Double B, Bobby Blaze.
Oh, no, not Meatloaf again. Professor, how are you, man? Hey, it's me, Double B, coming to you, baby. We got a special guest, Dave, on the line. We're asking him to hold up for 1 second, but thanks and welcome to our program, Dave. We've got some unfinished business with Meatloaf right now, though.
It seems to be a theme running here lately. So what do we got with Meatloaf now?
Well, from what I understand, okay, we kind of had this iffy feeling about Ellen Foley we was talking about, who actually does the vocals on the album. The best I could tell. She done the vocals on the album. But in a video, it was Carla DeVito. She's the hot chick in the video. That says, you know, when she mouths those words, let me sleep on it, you know?
Yeah.
When you, oh, man. Anyway, so we're trying to get this cleared up. So anyway, I think that clears it up. Carla DeVito was the singer on the video.
Okay.
And
but
Ellen Foley was
vocals on the
yes,
album.
Foley,
Okay.
yes, Foley, I'm sorry. And real quickly, we got a shout out to our man Sean, who cleared up the Hacksaw Dugan Patreon, what was that? Patriotic gimmick he did, rather.
Yeah. So that dates back to Mid-South, apparently, and
yes.
it's not a WWF thing.
Yes, he smartened us up on that.
Yeah, I guess DiBiase went heel and went foreign, I'm assuming, with Skandar Akbar?
I guess so. And then Hacksaw had the South will rise again for a guy from New York, but it worked, you know. So
Southern
for that time.
New York.
Yes,
Southern New York.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. And with that, what I've got written next is Bo Knows, and it says Dave Knows Wrestling. Dave, welcome to our program, man.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. It is an honor to be here.
Oh, man, it's our pleasure to have you on, man. So how are you today, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing? How are you two doing?
Oh, well, I am we're expecting to be 112 here in Central California today. So me and my dog are just laying on the floor under the air conditioning vents and not moving.
I don't blame you. That sounds like a good day.
Yeah. We are, we're actually having it pretty cool where I'm at over here in Kentucky right now. It's about 80, 83-ish, and it's been staying there the last couple of days with some thunder showers in the afternoons. It's actually been pretty pleasant, I have to say. Not unbearable like 112 out there in California.
So, you know, I'm going to kind of jump into this real quick here. I discovered Dave's YouTube channel, Dave Knows Wrestling, and I know you've got a couple others as well, but wrestling's what we talk about here, wrestling and Meatloaf. We have
apparently
very specific genre we cover. Dave, so let me ask you, how did you?
Oh, sure. I'm sure a lot of people want to hear that.
How did you get into pro wrestling? How did you become a fan? Let's start with that. What era were we talking here?
Okay, so, you know, like a lot of people roughly my age, it was the 80s. It was Hulkamania, just like everybody. I was a real little kid, like, cause my dad, is a wrestling fan. He doesn't really watch anymore. But when he got me into it, like the earliest thing I could remember, I tell this story. I don't know how accurate the memory is, but the first wrestler I can remember is Dusty Rhodes, when I was like 3 years old. But then, of course, you know, then I discovered Hulk Hogan, and I had no idea who Dusty was wrestling in that match. For all I know, it was Ric Flair, and I just didn't know it was Ric Flair. Because, like, Dusty stood out to me. Like, he had a much more obvious presence as a toddler. So I still remember that. But then again, like I said, I don't know how accurate this memory is. But then I got sucked into the Hulkamania just like anybody else, any other kid would. I had a fleeting understanding of it, and, you know, I know my dad watched it, but then when I really, really got into it was, the Royal Rumble. Cause when I saw the Royal Rumble, I thought this was like the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. And so that was the thing that sucked me in for sure.
Okay. And then how did you come up with the idea for starting your YouTube channel about wrestling?
Interesting question. For me, it came to me in the car. I was driving and, I was thinking about I've been a fan of watching YouTube. As I said, YouTube has slowly replaced regular television for me. I barely watch any regular TV, but I watch a lot of YouTube. And then I just started thinking, and it just clicked to me while I was driving. And all of a sudden I was like, hey, what if I did this? I could do that. And then, I just wanted to see if it was possible. And then I started thinking of things that I know, things I know about or things I'm a fan about. And I said, okay. And it was originally going to be like a multi-channel where if you look back at the really, really early videos, like the launch videos, and please don't, because they're terrible, so don't watch those. But if you watch the
let me interrupt you real quickly.
Yeah.
If you turn on, I watch YouTube probably 99% of my time on TV. I just want to let the fans know. At Dave Knows Wrestling, let me tell you, you're a good-looking guy, and you're very well-spoken, as we're learning right now. So keep up the story, man. Keep up the good work. And that's meant in the most respectful way. You're easy on the eyes to look at and listen to.
Bobby, stop sexually harassing our guests.
Hey, man, come on.
No, he doesn't have to stop. It's fine.
Hey. Anyway, please continue. I just want to get that before I forget that, man. And I got some other stuff for you, but go ahead.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Very, very flattered. Okay, so when I first started doing the channel, it was supposed to be like a conglomerate of just things that I like, and the early videos, it was like the intro was just Dave Knows, and then I would say, and today Dave Knows Wrestling, because it was going to be like today Dave Knows Wrestling, and then the next video could have been Dave Knows comics or whatever. And then I, at the last minute, changed it and made it only wrestling, just a wrestling only channel. So at the last possible second, because I just had the most things to say about it at that particular moment, and then we've just been rolling with the ball ever since.
Gotcha. Are you a Marvel or a DC guy? Marvel
guy for sure. Make mine Marvel.
Okay. Who would win in a fight, Nova or Hyperion?
I'm going Hyperion on that one.
Yeah, you're probably right. Sorry, Bobby. I know you're not really a comic guy, but I had to get something in there.
I'll go right ahead, but no, it's all good. You know that on this program. I still got a couple of things I got to get into, motherfucker.
Well, you know what? I am interested to see how, like, with being a comic guy, or not being a comic guy. I like in today's day and age, all the movies, I feel like everybody.
Yeah, I was comics when I was younger, of course, young kid, loved comics, and up until I was about 12, and then other vices took over.
I understand that.
Yeah. Anyway, but then when the movie started coming out about, I'm going to say, and around the summer of either 2009 or 10, I just spent my whole summer not reading, and as Jeremy knows, I'm a avid reader, and I just took off reading anything serious for the summer and just read a shitload of comic books that summer. But I will say I've not stayed with that pattern. And I haven't even went to the movies recently to see anything. No one. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But anyway. So I won't dumb down a conversation by being a comic affiliato as you guys are,
But you know what's interesting? I have a very similar story to that, because when I got into comics, and to offshoot this, I'll try to wrap this up quick, but I got into comics when I was a little kid. It was a reward for my mom if I was good at preschool. So I would get like a Thundercats comic when I was like 3 or whatever. But then around 10, 11, 12, it's the girls don't think that's cool, so I don't like comics. That's lame. That's for babies. I'm a man now.
Well, we went from sliding. I
like the things you think I'm supposed to like, and more.
No, I had a newspaper route. My second route was inside the hospital, and I had a gift shop. So there was a time I went from sliding comic books into my newspaper bag, or getting distracted from the lady at work there to, how you do the old 5-finger discount deal, till we got to, there's a Playboy, and I can reach that top shelf now, And the wrestling magazines were, of course, right in the middle. So we always went for those first. But once we saw those Playboys, okay. Because I had a couple friends a little bit older than me, a little bit taller than me. And so we discovered those.
Well, the articles were really good, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And it was better than the ones we found out beside our neighborhood, near
nothing like hearing
trash cans. You're like, come on, man. You got to go out there and leave it for the next guy. And they cut out the good parts out of it. There's no good articles in those magazines, just pictures. Oh, man.
It's like a roller coaster. When you're tall enough to reach that shelf is when you've earned it. That's pretty much how it works.
It's like the drinking age in Ireland, yeah. Hey, so Dave, real quick before we forget, let's go ahead and let you promote some stuff. Where can people find all your work at?
Okay, you can find me over at Dave Knows Wrestling over on YouTube. I also have another channel, Dave Knows Comics. You can also find me at Dave Knows Things over on the Twitter.
Fantastic. And
I follow you on Twitter. Yes.
Yeah, it's back at you, buddy.
Yeah, that's actually where we all connected, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, hell, that's where me and Bobby connected years ago now. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. Yes, sir. So real quickly, let me throw out a couple things. Sure. This Saturday, July 17th, I won't say it this way, Jeremy, Rona. We'll say the Rona. It's the RONA, Rona Theater in Ironton, Ohio. There's a big show coming up. It's called this show's a clusterfuck, but they've got a lot of good people coming in. Of course, I got the students that's going to be there, Jillian Hall, myself, but Misery will be there. Matt Cross, I've been putting over him over the last couple of weeks. Shane Douglas, a couple people, former employees of WWE are going to be there. The gentleman, I cannot think of his name, from Crime Time, he's going to be there. A couple others. But anyway, come out. It's at the Rona Theater in Ironton, Ohio, this Saturday, July 17th. Doors open at 6, man. And I'll be over there just kind of in the back, observing the talent, taking in the matches, maybe aging a couple matches, but also reviewing them for the students, for them to, hopefully they continue to get better than they have been. And also, I have to say this, Casey King will be there. We wish him well in his recovery from his knee surgery. He's doing pretty good. Big Joe Pace will be there. One of the young guys, been around for a while now. He worked a couple dark matches for WWE. He was Chase Armstrong. He's Psych Ward. That's how I know him. So he's going to be there. Should be a good show and a good time. If you can hear my voice in your Ashland, Huntington, Ironton, tri-state area, come down, have a good time, drink a few beers, watch some wrestling matches. And that's that for now. And then I'll tell you about a couple more appearances later on.
Right on.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Bobby, I got a question for you specifically now.
Okay.
I'm getting a little concerned here. Who's got a better speaking voice, me or Dave?
Oh, it's definitely you. I'll just answer for him.
Wait a minute. My I couldn't hear that very clearly. Sorry about that. I think Dave was speaking. What were you saying, Dave?
Oh, you win. No contest. You definitely have a much better voice.
Both of you have very good voices. I'm more used to the professors, but like I said earlier, I clarified, Dave, you got a great voice too, man. Easy on the ears. So, so what's the, I wanted to tell you this real quickly. I've watched several of them, obviously. The one, I'm going to bring up right away is one of the early ones I watched, and that was the one about Smoky Mountain. And I wanted to say thank you because there was a video several years ago. I don't know if it's still out there or not, but someone did a little thing on Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And so I said, I watched this. And I don't know, honestly, I don't know how long it was. I'm not trying to bury anyone else because I don't remember the person's name. Anything like that. It's just saying like, and man, they just breezed over a couple people, myself included. Like they barely acknowledged I even had the heavyweight championship. They just put up the promotion, but they only put up obviously a few people they really liked, and either didn't say anything or forgot about a couple people in the organization. But with yours, you really done the Smoky Mountain Wrestling video. Dave knows you done it very, very good justice. And Jeremy brought to my attention, so I went back and rewatched it, that you were so kind to remember me as the I'm still holding the TV title, baby, and no one's getting that strap off my back, you motherfuckers. I'm not defending that TV title anytime soon. And I will say this, maybe because of my infatuation with Meatloaf, I'm no longer a junior heavyweight contender, but I still hold the junior heavyweight championship title too. Thank you for letting people know that, Dave. Reminding people, letting them know I'm still the Smoky Mountain TV champion, beat the champ, baby, and the junior heavyweight champ. Yes. But guys, thank you for doing that. Very good.
You are welcome.
I got to throw this out there real quick for you, Bobby. A couple of years ago, back when I was still doing Geekish Cast, I interviewed an actress named Tammy Gillis who had been in a series where Meatloaf played the villain, right?
God damn, Meatloaf again.
Oh, yeah. This is what
Dave knows wrestling. This episode may end up being called Meatloaf again. I don't know.
But here's the thing. So I asked her, I said, how much does he weigh now? And she was, I don't know, about 210. And I said, so he's like a vegetarian Meatloaf now. But that's it. No more Meatloaf talk. We're done forever. That's it.
I don't know. I was going to say, I had an
never say forever.
Yeah, I had an interesting Meatloaf thing I heard. I don't know if you guys know about the movie Fight Club.
Yeah, dropped out, Dave. What up? Oh, Fight Club. Yes, Bob. What up? Yeah, the big slobbering.
Well, the story I heard was that both Ed Norton and Brad Pitt were very excited to see Meatloaf. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we're big fans of his." And they get on set, and when he's wearing the suit and he has his hair cut short, they're standing right next to him. They're like, "Where's Meatloaf? I thought he was going to be here today." And he's standing right behind him.
Oh man, great movie too, man.
This is a great movie. Yeah, I don't know if that story's true. It's just what I heard.
Yeah, well, we'll keep it true on this. Hey, on this podcast, anything's possible. It's true.
We don't let the truth affect a good story here. Yeah.
Yes, never do we let the truth stand in the way of a good yarn, man. So,
that's right.
Let me say this on behalf of Jeremy. There, I'm surprised he didn't say anything. Dusty being your first memory. That's Jeremy's go-to right there. His brother was Dusty.
Oh, look at that.
So here in this territory, we were the Thursday night in the San Francisco loop here.
Okay.
And Dusty Rhodes was the U.S. champion before Roy Shire folded and called it quits. But Dusty was the guy they brought in as the big star here for things like that. And, they bring him in for Ray Stevens and Pat Patterson and those guys. And so my little brother was named after Dusty Rhodes. His name's not Virgil. It's Dusty.
Right. No kidding. That's amazing.
Yeah. Now, see, for years, my mom would say he was named after Dustin Hoffman. My dad's like, no, that's not true. And then I guess around the time my dad passed away, I guess my mom finally fessed up and admitted it. So, then we finally discovered the truth. You know what I kind of have a topic I want the three of us to kind of get into here, and just kind of discuss, and feel free to take it wherever it goes. Why the hell do we do this to ourselves as wrestling fans? I don't know about you, Dave. I haven't really watched wrestling except for when the NWA came back. I got real into it again, and then the Rona hit and I kind of fell out. But, wrestling fandom has gotten so toxic. I don't know that there's really been any great things happening in wrestling since, 97, 98. Guys, what are your thoughts? Why, especially as, YouTube hosts and podcast hosts, why do we keep talking about what we talk about?
Well, for me, it's a matter of, it's wrestling itself, even if things aren't going the way you like, even if it's not as fun as it used to be, wrestling itself as a concept is always going to work. That's timeless. So there's always the hope that it can go back. And everybody has different tastes, and, some people might like one thing while you don't like it, and vice versa. And of course, when we're first introduced to something and we're told this is what wrestling is, we just think this is what it's always going to be. And then when it changes, and it slowly gets more removed from what we remember wrestling to be, it becomes harder to keep watching it. But that doesn't mean that it may not harken back to those good old days. So for me, a big part of it is I'm always going to love the memories I have. Those aren't going to change. And it's also the hope that it will get good again. Whether or not that happens remains to be seen, but, there's always the hope.
Yeah. Well, Bobby, what do you think?
I think professional wrestling from an early age and eventually got into the business. To me, and I think it still holds true, professional wrestling kind of works on cycles, man. And if you recall, when we first started this podcast, we had WWE, and not a lot more happening that we were, follow, not that we were following. I just saying, on mainstream since then, we used to tease about a t-shirt company, and, they started, having pay-per-views, and next thing you know, you have your AEW, And I hope fans, I don't care what you like. Some people like chocolate ice cream. Some people like vanilla. Some people fucking like sprinkles. I am not, get ready, Dave, because I might spit. I am not a sports person, but I love pro wrestling. Then that NWA came, and I really enjoyed that. And I used, and I had some different time references here. I tried to go to a show, once every, 6 or 8 weeks, depending on how I was feeling at that particular time. Local indie shows with a relatively close driving distance for me. And I went to a couple WWE house shows as well during that time, and a TNA house show. So I think it's the hope of I enjoy good wrestling. I enjoy seeing, 2 guys or 2 girls go at it, and I enjoy the I like it. I want to see just a good match, and as long as the people are in the match and trying to make it look competitive, I enjoy that aspect. My question back to Dave is, I'm just curious, is do you watch a lot of wrestling on TV still, or do you go to shows less, forgetting the last, 18, 20 months or so? Are you a big fan to go to your area, or, what do you go to shows or not?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. And I actually like that you brought this up because, to go back to what you're saying, when I'm talking about, the wrestling quality not being exactly what I would like it to be, that's mostly the mainstream stuff. But when we talk about outside promotion, outside of the, the top of the top, there is a lot of stuff that's really good. And, within the mainstream, there's a few things that I like, there's a few things that I like here and there. But for the most part, there's a lot of good stuff outside of it. I currently work for Catalyst Wrestling, so I get to see those shows. I get to be at those shows, which is great for me because I feel like I have the best seat in the house, especially when I've been timekeeping. As a timekeeper, we often, I always say the timekeeper's got the best seat in the house, so I always appreciate that. But even outside of that, I was just recently at Invictus Pro Wrestling. I got to see them. Those guys invited me out, which is great. And I've been going to NXT, and before, a year and a half ago, I was at NXT shows, WWE shows. I had tickets for my first ever AEW show, but then the world shut down, so I didn't get to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoy actively seeing live wrestling. And when it comes to the outside stuff, I really like that too. The NWA coming back was great. I really didn't like it as much, just coincidentally after Cornette left. It had nothing specifically to do with him necessarily, but they started changing the flavor around. Don't get me wrong, it didn't help because I do like Jim Cornette, but once
I agree.
The show changed in tone. Like, it was a different show almost. And now with Eli Drake no longer there, who I thought the story was written, it was written in the stars. Eli Drake was supposed to be the guy to take the belt off of Nick Aldis. And then they stalled on him for some odd reason. And then now he's in NXT. So that story's not happening anytime soon.
Yeah. What do you think about Thunder Rosa?
I think she's great. I think she's a great talent too. That's actually what I wanted to see more from in the NWA and AEW. I thought while their boys are not working and girls are not working, why not put them on AEW TV more? Not just Thunder Rosa, but why wasn't Nick Aldis on TV? And so on and so forth. Why were we seeing like Ricky Starks leave NWA and just go, we could have had a cross promotional brand just to keep them on television, keep them going. It would have been great.
Jeremy and I actually discussed that at one point, when I think around the Ricky Starks time, why weren't, a couple of them just get that exposure, not just jumping, but at least doing some, changing talents, if you will.
Right.
Is what I'd like to have seen. And also, I don't know if I watched, something I really had to watch it. A neighbor of mine, an older gentleman, and lives down this back alley. Just happened to, I didn't even know he was a wrestling fan. He found out I was a wrestler, I guess, about 6 or 8 months ago. And he started talking, and he has this weird sleep schedule, man. But he started talking about Ring of Honor, and because of the time it airs here that he watches it. And so I went and watched the Briscoe brothers the other day in that barn match, and I enjoyed the hell out of it, but we did a thing about all the titles, and MLW has a tremendous product. There's good wrestling out there if you look for it, outside the mainstream, even though those are kind of mainstreamish to me. But I also like those indie shows as well. And I know about a bunch of talented, young men and women involved, and I like that, seeing those people, work their way up, and then I'd like to see everyone get a break if they deserve a break, you know. Sometimes that's not the way the business works. Sometimes someone has 5 matches and they have a certain look to them, and they put them on, keep them off TV for 3 months. They bring them back, and, you know, they're a big star. But some people just work their ass off, and they, you know, never get that big break. But everyone else knows how talented they are in the locker room. They're like, hey, you know. But I just appreciate good wrestling, man. And there's a lot of it out there if you look.
I can completely agree with that. And it's also harder for me it's also hard for me knowing that there are so many people who work hard, are really talented at what they do. And yet there's only so much the world is going to get to see of them unless they go look for it. So if you're a wrestling fan, I say go out there and really go out there and see what you can find, because there's so much out there that you won't even know. And there's plenty of guys in America, like not even around the world, but in America that I don't know about, that are amazing, that I would I'm sure I would love to see if I even knew to see it. So you have to hunt for it. And I'm actively hunting for it. And even I can't keep up with all of it. But also the biggest thing that I like to say is that when it comes to the independent scene, those are the guys that I think, especially in the past year and a half, are going to need the attention more, going to need the help more. A lot of people express concern, and I understand why, and rightfully so, for a lot of the released WWE talents during this time period. But let's not forget that a lot of these local guys, these guys need support more. So I've been a big proponent of supporting your local independent wrestling scene and supporting your local independent wrestlers, because I think that's very important. So if you really love this business, take care of the guys who need it most.
That's right. And let me tell you something. We got some live pro wrestling. Hey, Stephen P. New right now. He's the one. His law offices, New Taylor Law Offices. Live Pro Wrestling, Saturday, August the 7th it's the Beckley County Convention. It's the old armory there, man. It's ASW. It's All-Star Wrestling. They're having a bash in Beckley. Yours truly is going to be there. I'm going to be in a corner of Shane Storm as he takes on the legendary Jerry the King Lawler. And as you know wrestling, Dave, you know Jerry Lawler and I have a little bit of history there, my man.
Oh, I know.
But since I've signed this name may sound familiar too. Apparently, the law office of Stephen P. New and Jerry Lawler and whoever else are involved up there at ASW, Gary Damron, they have brought in Dennis Condrey to be some kind of enforcer. So Dennis Condrey is going to be. But listen to this, man. Ronnie Garvin's going to be there. Davey Richards. Ron Mathis, one man, the white trash Ron Mathis, as tough as can be. The Heat Seeker's going to be there. Kerry Morton's going to be there. I'm just naming some guys here. Dave Heath, what's his name, from WWE? Not Dave Heath. Yeah, is it Dave? He's on Impact now, Heath. Brian Myers is going to be there, and Matt Cardona. And let's see, I think I named most of the people that I know off the top of my head. But anyway, that's the Bash in Beckley. First time back in Beckley forever, because Smoky Mountain used to run that. The old NWA used to run that. I love the atmosphere of that building. I'm going to be excited to be there as a fan, and also excited to be there to be in Shane's corner as he battles Jerry the King Lawler. And we'll see what happens between Dennis Condrey and hell, I'm just there to manage. I hope nothing.
Well, I gotta.
But yeah, support your local independent wrestling, guys. Thanks for that plug, Dave.
I was gonna say, I don't know. You might have to stay on your toes with Dennis Condrey right there. You know, he's not gonna make it work. Easy.
Yeah. No.
Speaking of Dennis Condrey, he and I have a little something in common. That we both have Lincolns, and they both run on gasoline and not air.
Not on air.
And, so Bobby, why don't you sell a couple books real quick?
Oh, okay, yeah. So, Dave, I've got a couple books out there, man. You can find them on Amazon. But the good professor himself has set up a couple of links that are shortcuts, and also it helps our show get a little bit of kickback, helps Jeremy's affiliate account with Amazon. I'm going to give those book titles out and those links out right now. So, if you want my first book, Pin Me, Pay Me, Have Boots Will Travel. Just use tinyurl.com/blazebook1. That'll take you right to it. The second book is called I Kicked Out on Two, The Educational Wrestler. Just go to tinyurl.com/blazebook2. Both those links will take you directly to the book. Dave, if you don't have a copy, I'll be more than glad to send you an autographed copy. Well, once we get off the air here, you can give me the information if you so desire to have one or have not read it yet. So,
I would love that. That would be great.
Yes. Be my pleasure, my friend.
Be mine.
Yeah, just, you can download those books as well. There's a couple other ebooks on there as well. I don't know if the affiliate account gets anything off of that, but it does give our program a little bit of kickback if you go through to tinyurl.com/blazebook1 or /blazebook2 and get the hard print or hardback, paperback edition of those books. So that's my book plug, Professor.
Fantastic. Actually, just real quick, and I don't want to take a lot of time away from our guest here, but
right.
Our new website is up at bell2bellblaze.com. Bobby, I did pitch in a little extra for a tool that's going to allow us to use a shortened link from now on. That's going to be bell2bellblaze.com/whatever. So we will be getting new links to our books and things. So.
Cool deal. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. I know you sent me a message last night, but I was a few deep.
So was I when I was setting up the website, so I'm hoping everything works okay.
Yeah, well, it's all right. Dave, you have a cold beer once in a while? We do talk about cold beer on this show.
Once in a while, myself, yeah. Okay. What's your favorite? Okay. What's your favorite? What do you like to drink? What do you guys like to drink?
I'm a Miller Lite guy. I'm a Miller Lite.
Mm-hmm. All right. How about you?
So my go-to beer when I'm just like hanging out having a beer is Bud Light, just because it's easy to drink and, whatever. I am a bigger fan of Reds and stouts, though.
And what's your go-to, Dave?
Okay. All right. Work.
What's yours, my friend?
Usually, if I can find it, because it's not everywhere. If it's not everywhere, but I do like Yuengling a lot. That's the one I'll go to.
Yeah.
But, not everywhere carries it.
We have that now. It went from when I lived in Maryland, we got it because right there near Pennsylvania. And because of they eventually went into West Virginia. And I think it's been maybe 2 or 3 years now. We can get Yuengling here in Kentucky now. So that's a good beer. Good choice. Good choice. And no light on that. When you go to Yuengling, you got to have a good Yuengling. You can't, I'm not a Yuengling Light guy. But yeah, I'm a Miller Lite guy.
Yeah.
Yuengling probably is not going a lot past. They're distributed they're the oldest brewery in the U.S. I think they're distributed in Pennsylvania, but I don't know what their distribution is, how far it goes. I know we were 2 or 3 years behind West Virginia. Of course, West Virginia does border Pennsylvania, but there for a while, they were just doing it surrounding counties or states on the east side there, like Maryland, Delaware, New York, maybe up in that area.
Yeah.
So.
Well, here in California, we have so many not just California, the West Coast, California, all the way up to British Columbia. We have so many microbreweries, and they all specialize in these fucking skunky, dirty sock IPAs. So it's you got to be a little more select. I mean, even just like right here, Modesto, we have a lot of people, but we're still quote unquote a small town. It's almost 300,000 people right here, but we have
small town. Damn, 300,000 people.
Well, it's California though, Bobby. So fuck, there's a million homeless people just in the first 2 blocks in San Francisco. I mean, it's we have a lot of people here. 1 in 8 Americans lives in California. So when people talk about the real America, it's California because everybody is here. There's 1 in 8 Americans live in California. It's just like 1 in 8 human beings alive today is descended from Genghis Khan.
No kidding.
Yeah.
But you know what? Maybe we've gotten a little far afield. Huh? Dave,
no kidding. Yes.
who is your favorite wrestler of all time?
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
All right. Good choice. Hey, I want to send out a strong vibes to my main man. My all-time favorite wrestler is Terry Funk. I know he's had a couple health issues lately. I know he's getting ready to be he had his birthday June 30th. Late 70s. I don't know if he's hit 80 yet, but anyway.
He's close.
I hear he's doing well. Yeah, I mean, he's doing, it's up and down, but I hear he's all right, the latest word I heard. But send him well wishes because Terry Funk man, he's just he's my all-time favorite go-to wrestler. No matter, you know, I was watching him in Smoky Mountain Wrestling Live, or he's up here in ECW, or even back, you know, in 89 with WCW, or way back to 1980s when he was coming over to Memphis and working with Jerry Lawler, and they had the empty arena matches, which was one of after the 5-star match they had, which is available on YouTube. I'm sure you're familiar with that. We're going to plug your YouTube again, Dave, because you do know wrestling, but also the empty arena match is one of my favorites. So,
oh yeah,
with Funk, of course, Funk Lawler, yeah,
the Funk Lawler, the original one before he started doing it. The one with the cage was not as good as the one with Lawler, but then again, it's Funk and Lawler. Of course, that's going to be the best one they're going to have because those two are absolute classics. So there's no getting around that.
Yeah,
and
do you
also
have a
best wishes to
favorite
Funker too.
Style of match or a favorite all-time match? Do you have any? Is a Stone Cold in your all-time favorite match? Was it because of the what did you say, the Royal Rumble? Was it that year that he won it, or what was the? You just love him, or just because you want to flip off your boss and drink a cold beer, and you know?
You know what? But it's funny. It's a lot of things. In terms of a favorite all-time match, I have a hard time narrowing that down to one. So my favorite all-time match is like one of like 17 matches.
Sure.
I've been thinking about making a video where I try to force myself to narrow it down to an actual 10, but it's too hard to do. But with Austin, what it came down to is, in terms of, I've said this multiple times, in terms of making money for the industry, as far as I'm concerned, and the math, there's a lot of math to support it. I know people want to debate this, but the number
I watched your mouth video this morning, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much. I was going to say.
It was over my head.
I understand. I probably went too far with that. I go too far with them every once in a while. I'll be honest. But when it comes to the biggest draw of all time, or who's done the most for this industry, who brought most people in, to me it's Steve Austin. And out of the three major people that you could throw into that mix, Hulk Hogan and The Rock and Austin, in my opinion, Austin was the best in-ring performer out of all of them. He was the best wrestler, especially before he broke his neck. He had a smash mouth style, and while he was, a lot of people don't recognize, but he was a talented technical wrestler, but he did it in his way to fit his character in a way that nobody really sees coming. So I always thought that was brilliant, that you can do moves, but do them in a way where you buy it, where Austin, especially his matches with Bret Hart, anything he could possibly do made sense, and you never questioned it. It didn't look out of pocket. Everything told the story, and in terms of storytelling, I think he's absolutely the best in-ring storyteller there ever was.
Fuck, Dave, you know wrestling.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Bob.
Damn, yeah. And we did we had a YouTube channel. The gentleman was doing that for us. Rest in peace, Tex Johnson. We lost him going on
about a year.
Yes, I think September is about a year. Yeah. But he was doing our videos, and we had a top 10 regional heels and top 10 regional baby faces, and we done one on Dusty. That was one of our favorite, our early one. It was one of our best episodes. The top 10 reason we love Dusty. But I think, did you do? We done one that was one of the last ones we may have done that Tex put up there. We did, and it was real close to ours, Jeremy, if you haven't seen it, as far as what we liked and didn't like. Title belts, Dave. You said Dave knows wrestling with the title belt. Our number one title belt, and Jeremy, he's the belt guy in this, just so you know, so you two can discuss amongst yourselves. But we didn't. Our number one was the Waffle House, the 24/7 title. You know, that one. That was our. That's the ugliest. That's the worst. Whatever. So I think I saw yours, and it kind of mirrored ours. Why don't you discuss that with maybe the professor can do that? 'Cause we had 10 belts we just threw out there, like this one's over, this one's not, and I think you did. How did you do yours?
I did 5 that I love. I did 5 that I love and 5 that I hate. And unfortunately, the ones that you don't like, it's way easier picking those than the ones you really do like. But I will say the Waffle House Championship does crack me up, especially because anybody who actually knows wrestlers knows that Waffle House is one of the things that wrestlers will go to. It is almost a mandatory act.
Yeah.
You have to eat at Waffle House if you are a wrestler.
I just done an interview with a gentleman from over in Australia. It hasn't been released yet. And he's got several out there. And he said the number one answer every time has been Waffle House. That's his go-to. And then one of my friends I just spoke to about 2 or 3 weeks ago gave me a call, FaceTime me actually, Mark Mercedes, who I'd helped break in back at Malenko's and then did a tour with when I was over in Australia. He came over here in 90, came back again. He was here when he first broke in, like I said, maybe in early 91-ish, something like. Anyway, long story short, he came back to visit me around 97. Every time I picked him up at the airport, it's always Waffle House. First stop, Waffle House, man. That was his thing. So even over in Australia, if they come here and they're a wrestler, they want to eat the Waffle House. I don't know about the Japanese boys or the English guys, but I know some of the Australian guys that have come over. Rob Matrix also, he came over and spent 2 months with me, training several years back, and it was Waffle House, especially after a late night. It was Waffle House, So anyway, go ahead with your title. Sorry about that sidetrack there.
No, hey, and he's talking about why Waffle House is good by me.
Oh man.
All right, well, let's go ahead and cover that then.
Cover your titles.
We'll just kind of hit a couple things here real quick. What do you think right now is the most prestigious wrestling title available to somebody working in wrestling?
That is such a great question. And on my YouTube channel, Dave Knows Wrestling, I have talked about that, in short, covering as part of my video for what is the definition of a world title. What does a world title mean? But that's a great question, because as far as I'm concerned, it changes. I don't think it's always the same what the top title is. No. But that, and a lot of people don't acknowledge that. There's some people who say once it is for the end of time. But I don't know. At this point, it's a tough question. I will reflexively say the WWE Championship, but I'm not 100%. You could probably sway me off of that if you tried hard enough. But that's my thing. What do you say is the most prestigious title in all of wrestling?
Well, I think I kind of shocked myself with this. A few weeks back, we did, we tiered wrestling belts. So we did like S through F tier. And by the end of the show, I think we had put the ROH title above everybody else's just because the amount of prestige and actual wrestling that goes into that championship. But I don't think we expected to end up there.
Yeah, no.
I feel like no matter what I say, I'm going to want to say something else. So in
half an hour, it's going to be different.
Yeah. Right. I'm wanting to bite my tongue about, thinking, the WWE title, that's the one. But, I love that 10 pounds of gold belt. That's one of my favorites. But, I like whoever just now said the 30-minute thing, in a half an hour changer. I don't know. I think it's up for debate of people that do know, or your average fan, or even amongst the boys is like, you're working for that paycheck. That's probably the title you want with the most TV exposure or worldwide exposure, So, I think it just kind of goes with the territory. Also, the guys working in those territory, or maybe not necessarily territory nowadays, but MLW or, whether you're AAA or New Japan or All Japan, the top belt, is what you want to strive for in that company. You just like I work myself from opening matches to being the heavyweight champion of Smoky Mountain. That's just one of those things that, it's, you strive to be the best for yourself, of course, and for your own business and for the business you're working for. And unfortunately, I was very fortunate to work around Jim Cornette for several years and some of the top talent, that came through there. And, so I think everyone's shooting for, in a work way, you're shooting for the title, and in a shoot way, you're trying to get there too. You want that, increase in, bookings and pay and, being seen, magazines back in the day, I guess more so now on the internet. Then, and also you got TV exposure and stuff like that. So I don't know, man.
And also, I was just saying, also it helps out your future booking too. It's like when you're a former champion, people know. Yeah, it's always good for you. And it's a great feather in your cap to have a title, to be trusted, to be trusted as a former champion or current champion. It's always an honor, and it helps your career exponentially in every aspect, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, unless you jump to WCW and they don't recognize any other title. And they don't like Southern wrestlers, and everyone in the locker room going, give this guy a fucking push. Mike Tenay could have said, Bobby, I wish I could tell everyone that you were a former Smoky Mountain Heavyweight Champion and really put you over. Dusty did put me over as much as he could, but again, with the restraints of someone else saying, well, you don't have enough TV time yet. And you're like, I'm fucking on every Saturday night. I'm on your worldwide tapings, whatever. But anyway. Wait, did we mention WCW's out of business? There's a reason for that, Dave, and I bet you know why.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this the other day. To me, it's funny how WCW, for all intents and purpose, it's a miracle. Anything happened they did. They had Jim Herd right off the start, and they ended with Vince Russo. It's like weird when you think about it. It's like, man, they really did well in spite of themselves. Exactly,
and I mentioned Jim Cornette. When he left to start Smoky Mountain, thankfully that happened. But also Kevin Sullivan, I spoke to, hopefully see him soon, actually. But, Kevin, again, one of the greatest minds in the wrestling business to me as well. And we sat right here in my backyard just several years ago. I had a recent birthday, and I used to bring a deal, had some wrestlers come over and work out and train and have the kids and and Kevin came down one time and we just sat here talking, and it was really, I've seen it, what do you call them? When you're out singing. God damn it, Bobby. Sorry, Dave. I get outside my own head sometimes. Personal appearances and things. But anyway, I think Cornette and Sullivan both have said, outside of my presence, but in the public domain, that it's a wonder WCW fucking did as well as they did in spite themselves. Well, I was trying to fucking spit out Dave. And that's two great minds. And now you're saying it and you're agreeing. So, hey, the professor, now we got 5 fucking great minds saying it. And nice. I'm sure there's others out there.
Guys, I want to hit one other thing here too. Since we're just coming off of title belts. I mean, we can all sit around and talk about how WCW should have been drowned in its own bathwater and
Hey, I was glad to have a paycheck there for 3 years, man. I make light of it, but I loved it. I loved it, man.
At least it was there to diversify the product. Look, we just did 20 years of only one mainstream wrestling company. Look what it got us.
Yeah.
But Dave, I got a question for you. How do you feel about fans carrying replica title belts?
All right. This is going to put me in some hypocritical water here. I am not a fan of the practice, but I do own one myself, so.
Okay, right answer, I think. Otherwise, someone's going to come and smash your forearm, roll your ass up, because you got to defend that title if you're fucking out there walking around with it.
You got to defend.
So you've got one. Jeremy's got one, so that's cool. But he's not fucking walking around with it around his shoulder at fucking personal appearances and gatherings and meet and greets.
I thought about taking this to get Sting to sign it when he was here, and then I was like, I'm not taking this out of the fucking house. It's not happening, Do you guys remember there was in the NWA when it was still on YouTube that Tim Storm had his last shot at Nick Aldis in the title, right?
Right.
Okay.
And he lost, and it was like, okay, you can never compete for the NWA title again. And then so Tim Storm heads towards the back as he's walking through the crowd. There were like 5 guys with the NWA title right there. And I'm thinking, he ought to just fucking hit one of them and take their belt. Just pin them.
There you go.
Just keep going.
Yeah.
Tim Storm does not look like the kind of guy I want to have punch me in the face,
No.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So what replica belt do you have?
I have the Intercontinental, the old WWF Intercontinental title. It was a Christmas present.
The Macho Man
nice.
title.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes. The real one. The real title.
Man.
Oh, gee.
Jeremy, tell them which one you have. Did you mention it?
I've got the NWA title. The Don't
Nice.
Yeah.
Someone pointed out to me that if you look at the NWA title, it kind of looks like a sloth face. And he says, now that I've told you, you'll never unsee it.
Holy
and he's right.
Shit. I see it right now. Oh my God. I'll never.
Well, ruin it for you too now.
Yeah. Well, see,
not see it again. Yeah.
What's funny about the Dome Globe is back when Ric Flair switched to the big gold belt. I remember thinking, God, that other belt was so fucking ugly. And I never liked it. And then all of a sudden there was talk about Billy Corgan bringing back the NWA and trying to do something with it. And I was like, I sure miss that old Dome Globe belt, that one I hated for 30 years. Yeah, that's the one. And Bobby, I think you've said it. If anything had ever happened and you won it, you would have stuck with that same design, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the Harley race belt. And I think that's a big part of what it is that we all look at it and think race, funk, Dusty, everybody got it. Yeah.
I think a big part of it was the NWA success when Corgan took it over was that he designed everything around that belt and he reminded you what this belt means and he made it feel special again and in ways that nobody, and I gotta admit, it feels more special, more prestigious than the WWE titles in some ways. Despite everything that WWE has tried to do with it. It's the NWA title the way Corgan made it, and the whole company was built around it, which I thought was brilliant. And I wish more companies did that. So, I love everything that Corgan did when he relaunched the NWA. Absolutely great stuff.
Good deal.
I thought that was all really good. So, guys, we are starting to run down on time here, so let's go ahead and cover some things real quick. So, Dave, one more time, where can people find you at?
You can find me on YouTube at Dave Knows Wrestling, and you could also find me on the Twitter with Dave Knows Stuff.
Fantastic.
Or is it Dave Knows Things? Crap, I don't even remember my name.
Dave Knows Things.
I don't even remember.
Here real quick. You are at, hold on, I put Jeremy's number in here. Where are you at? Damn it. Here you are. You are at Dave Knows Things on Twitter.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. Try that one.
Yeah. At
Thanks.
Dave Knows Things. There you go. And you can find Jeremy at the Geekish Cast, also known as the Professor, or you can find myself, Bobby Blaze, at Bobby Blaze 744. That's my only social media, and I do enjoy Twitter. I let out last night, Dave. Don't know if I even shared this with Jeremy, but I think he may have liked it. And I saw several other people this morning when I got up. But I have a secret talent. I broke it out the other night for about a half a second. And so last night I thought, I've posted this probably 3 times on my Twitter. I have a secret talent. I can moonwalk. And so
nice.
I was at this little gimmick the other night and for FTC Wrestling, and so I broke out the moonwalk for it. And people looked real quick, and I'd already done enough just to set my ass back down. So last night I put it out there on Twitter because I told a couple of the boys, I said, I'm going to tweet that over the weekend now, and I've done it again. And so I was at a couple people like, put it on there like they put it over, man, because it's my secret talent. But find me at Bobby Blaze 744. We're not putting any sneak video out there yet of me moonwalking, but that's my secret talent. And I'll put that out about once a year probably. That's not my most popular tweet, but it's fun to tweet it because I do have some fans. Robert Silva again gets a shout out, Jeremy, because he put it over about the moonwalk, and also the Motown 25th anniversary. Fucking Michael Jackson tears it up with Billie Jean, and he caught the reference. I caught the reference. That's why I was watching last night. Messing with different things.
So wait a minute.
And I was like, Soul Train, and I'm like, oh man, I got up and I moondoggled through my kitchen to get another beer last night. But anyway,
wait a minute. I got a question. So I don't know if you know this, but maybe you never looked at it this way, but did Santana Jackson rip you off? Is that what's going on here?
I don't know. I know Robert put the tweet out there that I should have a moonwalk off with Michael Hayes. And I said, well, back in the day, I probably would have had to fucking do the job because you got to consider the company you're working for. But anyway, I put Michael over because he's one of the fabulous Freebirds. I put that over. But I think I can hang with him. I don't know. So I can't say gimmick infringement because Michael Jackson. There was people done it before Michael Jackson, people on Soul Train. And
Soul Train, that's right.
Shamarla, what's the name? Shamalar, how you say his name? Shamalar? I'm drawing him. Anyway, sorry about the name mix-up out there. They know who I'm talking about. I get too excited. Shalimar, God damn it. Shalimar, he can moonwalk, and there's footage out there of it happening before Michael Jackson. But, Michael Jackson's the one that made it really, really universal worldwide and all that. But so I'm no Michael Jackson. I'm no Michael Hayes. I'm just Bobby Blaze Smedley having a beer in my kitchen every once in a while when I got socks on the floor slick. I can move the right way and make a certain move, and it's all right for the pretty fly white guy. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I was in off the pavement the other day, in some gravels, and I just happened to. They were playing karaoke and some Michael Jackson, and I did a couple steps, and a couple people looked up, and I said, "Yeah, you didn't know, did you?" And I set my ass right back down, and I said, "That's a secret talent." And so I've always done it from a few people, and one of them was trying to get their camera out. And William Harding, if you come across the state of Kentucky. Now that you're way out there, you're in a whole different time zone where you're at, William. If you come over to this side of the state again, I would gladly let you film the footage if you'd like, because he hit me up on Twitter last night too. So I might put that out there one day for a laugh. So, Dave, man, thanks for being on the show, bro. We really appreciate it. Come back again. Hey, it's Dave Knows Wrestling on YouTube, and it's Dave Knows Things on Twitter. Jeremy, fucking wrap us up, man. But thanks for being on the program, Dave. Jeremy, thanks for putting this together for us. And, come on, cut me off. Someone cut me off from being a heel here. There you go.
That all being said. You know what? Real quick, though, I did want to point out that Ron Fuller, everybody take a shot real quick. Ron Fuller has a interview that he's putting up with, it looks like, Terry
and Dory.
And Dory, yeah. So keep your eye out for that if it was last night or whatever day it was, but.
Yes,
that should be a good one. Of course, Ron Fuller, take another shot, has the great stuff he's been putting out on YouTube here lately. But that being said, for the late Tex Johnson, myself, Professor Jeremy Vilmur, Associate Professor Dave Lee from Dave Knows Wrestling, and Arn Anderson's favorite enhancement talent, Double B, Bobby Blaze. Bye-bye, everybody.